Good morning, church.
Morning.
Okay, well, we've got some exciting news to share. We were at Uchee Pines for 17 days, starting April 17th, somewhere around there, 2.5 weeks, and we really enjoyed it. Is this the clicker here? Oh, very good. So we would just like to outline this morning in this brief time just a few areas to comment. There is actually more information that we could share here in 10 or 12 minutes, but we wanted to hit on a few areas, and that would be what you could expect upon arrival, how the fasting experience went for us. We want to talk about healthy meals and what they call specials, which are just additions to your nutritional plan. We wanted to talk about the treatments, the tea room, and also the spiritual aspect of the retreat. So upon arrival, do you want to take it from here? Or you want me? Okay. You can tell we've rehearsed this, right? Okay, so upon arrival, we just found this lovely complex. We do have a site map. I think it's coming up. It's in a lovely location, pretty remote, but a very large campus. I think we said it was about 200 acres, 200-acre campus. And you can see there the photo on the right. I hope you can see this online as well. Sister Pam joined us for this 17-day trip. And so, coming in the front door, this is the lobby and reception area. On the right there, you see kind of a living room area. The tea room is off the right corner of that. It may be a little bit small in this photo, but just a lovely, a very relaxed atmosphere there. And this is one picture of the room. Each guest has a private room with private bathroom. So it's kind of like a hotel, but it's better. And we'll get to that. So, this is the site map that we were referring to. You may not be able to see a lot of detail from farther back, but this building all the way at the top, that is actually the lifestyle center. And a lot of these other structures are homes for some of the staff and the people that live on campus. This area in the middle there, that is a farm. And you will spend some time there should you be fortunate enough to attend a session at the Lifestyle Center. So moving on to medical exams and fasting. I think this is where Ann wants to pick up.
So the first night we arrived, basically it's just a check-in. You can expect a check-in that evening. You'll have dinner, you'll check in. The next day, they start with the medical exams. So you see your doctor. Each person is prescribed a specific provider. And you'll see your doctor. They do a thorough exam. The lifestyle counselor also does an assessment at the time as well. And you have your blood work done. And I don't recall whatever I think there were some lectures maybe that day as well. So, next slide. So the day after that, so once you've been there one day and kind of settled in, then most people, depending on what you're prescribed with your provider, you will experience a 3-day fast. Again, that's not every single person. There were people there, for example, maybe if you're battling with cancer or you have something that they specifically want to work with you in different areas, you may not encounter the fast, but the majority of the guests that were there while we were there, and I think that's the norm, do start a 3-day fast. And it is a water fast and an herbal tea fast. So along with your initial visit with your physician, you'll also find out what teas you're going to be prescribed. So that's kind of your medication while you're there. And the benefit of the the 3-day fast is, for one thing, it allows your digestive organs to just kind of rest, because a lot of our organs are overworked and they need a little time off. They need some time off and they just reset. It also, of course, allows for the detoxification to begin, and the liver is detoxed and strengthened. Some people, including, and I don't think Pam would mind me saying, she, within a day or two of fasting, was relieved of her joint pains. They were gone and have not come back. But she was so stiff, she was saying that even just getting up from her desk, she would be very stiff, and it would take her a little bit before she could walk. But once she was on that fast, that disappeared. It's also an excellent way to practice self-control, the tea and temperance. And it seems like maybe you won't be able to do it, and I had some concerns when I met with my doctor. I said, I think I have a little bit of hypoglycemia, because when I have fasted in the past, sometimes I'll get up in the morning and I'll be like, whoa, I feel like I'm going to pass out. So I said, what are you going to do about that? Is it really safe for everybody? And they said, don't worry, we're going to be monitoring your vitals the whole time, and we'll also be monitoring your blood sugars. And then they said, and a lot of people who think that it's a low blood sugar, it's really low sodium or low magnesium. So true enough, the second day and also the third day, the first day I was fine. But the second morning and the third morning, I would get up and I would be like, whoa, this is not good. My blood pressure was low, and I was just feeling like I was going to end up on the floor. So they would give me salt water, or I had barley green. One morning I had coconut water. I was fine. As soon as I had that, I was good to go for the whole day. So that's just kind of a little tip of what happens as far as some things. Now, if there were blood sugar issues, they would address those, but they are monitoring all of that very closely. So along with the tea and temperance, though, it does give us practice for our appetite control overall. And it resets the appetite. Those sugar cravings or whatever that we're having, they do go away. By the end of the fast, the simple plain food tastes really good on day 4. It can also improve the disposition. Sometimes we can be a little cranky or irritable, and part of that is we need to be detoxed, and so that helps as well. It also clears our mind, sharpens our mind, and it's, of course, a reminder for us to focus on the spiritual food and the spiritual bread, and not so much the bread, the physical bread.
And we're going to talk more about the spiritual aspect, but that's one thing that I really enjoyed was the morning worship and evening worship every morning at 6:30 and evening at 7 p.m. I think. Mm-hmm. So speaking of food, we took a few pictures of the buffets. Now this was, to me, one of the best parts of the retreat was really the food was wonderful. And you may have heard stories. We had a friend recently that attended the Weimar session, and he said to us, the food is all just brown and gray, and you just couldn't get excited about it. Well, we found nothing further from the truth on this on the meal plan here. That's not to diss Weimar if anybody's listening.
No, we don't know that
sorry.
was the one person's experience.
That's right. But the food here was wonderful. It was very colorful, and you literally do eat the rainbow. Here, this was looks like a lunch buffet that we're showing on the left, and typical breakfast on the right. Although they had muffins that morning, that wasn't very typical.
Yeah, that's not, and trust me, that wouldn't be all you get for breakfast.
No,
because it's a huge buffet, and we're encouraged to eat our biggest meal, of course, at breakfast time.
Yeah.
And click back if you would. What you see above the little the plate, we'll talk about that. I'll explain what some of that is. That's what we're called the specials.
Those are some of the specials.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just another couple photos. This was lunch. Lunch was typically a large salad. You can eat as much salad as you want with all the fresh raw veggie toppings. And then that day, I think it was an Indian dish that we had rice. Yeah, sure. Thank you. So do you want to speak to the...
Yeah, so what Uchee Pines encourages is the 18-6 plan. So that's just a lifestyle thing. So this is a new way of life. Okay, so the 18-6 daily plan is basically you eat all of your meals within a 6-hour window, which gives your body every day 18 hours of fasting time. And what happens after the 13th hour is you go into a fat burning mode. Now, it's not a keto diet. It's not in a negative sense. The keto diet is a bad thing. You're intentionally feeding yourself with food so that you go into a ketoacidosis, basically. This is very different. It's a fasting way, but in the end, you are burning fat after that 13th hour. So this is
Could I just interject? So the term that we're needing to say here is this is intermittent fasting. So
It's what
I'm not
today
sure
is
we said
called
that.
intermittent fasting, but it's what's advocated in the spirit of prophecy.
Yeah.
She advocates, if possible, most people are to have it 2 meals a day, and she also advocates that we have at least 5 hours before we go to bed. So if you kind of calculate it out, you end up eating within the 18-hour framework. And modern science is supporting that. Excuse me, modern science is supporting that. And it's really all the rage right now is the intermittent fasting. And it actually is what the truth of the spirit of prophecy has given us this whole time. So again, it's breakfast like a king, lunch like a pauper, and there is no dinner. So, okay. Now, the specials that we talked about. So along with everybody's, most people are eating about the same thing, but there are people who are there for different reasons, and so they're prescribed different things. For example, some were there, and they would have large glasses of juice that were made specifically for them. Many of us didn't have juice. Some had maybe a small little container of a specific juice, like a celery juice. Others had big glasses of green drinks. So it really depends on what your provider, what your physician or your nurse practitioner decides that you specifically need. But basically, as an overall, everybody was, quote, prescribed, and this is something that you carry on with, these specials. One being a tablespoon of ground chia seed. This is what you fit into your 2 meals, however you want to do it every day. A tablespoon of ground flaxseed, a teaspoon of turmeric powder, a teaspoon of black cumin seed, and garlic cloves. You are prescribed different amounts depending on what you need. And those garlic cloves, they steam them there. And when you do that, you steam them for 3 to 6 minutes. It takes away that pungentness so that you don't have that garlic strong flavor and you don't have garlic breath afterwards either. So it's just
That's
kind
bad.
of mild. Yeah, it's just kind of mild. So those are the specific specials that most people take part in there and that you carry on with when you leave in Uchee Pines. And these are for anti-inflammatory issues. And I would like to say something about this treatment. This is an actual light box from Battle Creek that Kellogg invented. Okay, they actually have one of the old originals. Now they have installed new light panels on it, but it is the original box. And this is one of the treatments that they do. And this in particular will detox. For example, my counselor was telling me about how when Dr. Kellogg was utilizing this, he would use it to detox his smokers. And people would sit in this, and after the time in there, they would come away, and the towels that they wiped them with were just brown because all that nicotine was just being taken out through their pores. So it's
Amen.
a huge detoxer. So it's very good for your immune system. It also drops blood pressure quite dramatically. There was an issue with an individual whose blood pressure was already a little bit low, but they're monitoring, they're there on top of it. But this is the reason these treatments that are being done, the hydrotherapies and the light box, etc., they're not anything that somebody who doesn't know what they're doing should mess around with. This is under medical supervision, and there are things that can be done incorrectly. There are contraindications, and they can be dangerous if used improperly. But when used properly and with intelligence, they're really incredible treatments.
If I could just interject, I must say that the staff is very well trained.
Yes.
We were so impressed with their knowledge and the experience and the training program that the younger people go through in getting up to speed with all these treatments. We had a lot of questions, especially Anne was just throwing a lot of questions at her counselor, and she had answers for everything. It was really quite amazing.
They are very knowledgeable, very skilled, and you have a physician that you're prescribed to see twice a week for an hour, hour and a half each time. And they not only address your physical, they address mental, they address spiritual as well. And then you have a lifestyle counselor. Your lifestyle counselor only has 2 guests the whole time. So they come to your room, they tell you what to expect, they come pick you up, they take you to your treatment, they do your treatment. I mean, they're very involved. They oversee your case. They're aware of everything. So it's very, very personalized. We were really impressed. This is just a list of some of the hydrotherapy treatments that are offered there. Infrared sauna, and we don't have time to go into all that, but contrast shower, that's the intense hot cold. I thought that would be a breeze. It is not. By the time I was done, I felt like I could hardly walk. I was so wiped out.
I actually enjoyed that one more than some of the others, and really, that wasn't her favorite.
It was exhausting. But a lot of these, you will be very tired. And when you're done with all these, fever bath, neutral tub, steam bath, etc.
Only one per day.
When you're done with, you have one treatment every day, you have to go lay down and rest for 45 minutes because that's part of the healing. And you'll want to rest for the most part. Usually you're tired afterwards. Doesn't seem like you would be, but you are. So that's that one.
Okay, so moving on here, we'd only have a few minutes left.
These are some examples. That's just a typical bathtub. I didn't find a slide that had two, but when you have a contrast bed, you'll have two tubs right next to each other. You'll have the hot tub, the cold tub, and you'll go back and forth and immerse. On the right is the contrast shower. It's kind of a bad angle, but you have literally jets all around you on all levels spraying at you. So you're completely submersed in water in this. It's not just one shower coming down on you.
Right. There are 6 or 8 shower heads located all around the walls. And if you don't want one spraying right on your face, but the idea is to evenly raise the temperature around your whole body.
Yeah, and with the fever bath, for example, the goal is to get you up to 102 and to maintain that for 20 minutes. Now, it's not always, we don't all reach that level, but that is what they attempt to do. With the Russian steam bath that's on the left, you can see there's an area where a little box, your head sticks out of there, and the door shuts, and you're in that bath, in that steam. Now, it's not as overwhelming, at least to me, with the shower because you're not getting all that steam at you. But that is the Russian steam bath, and on the right is the dome infrared. So there are 2 types of infrared saunas that they have.
Yes. And moving on here, I'll give you a little bit of a break. So the tea room, as they call it, is really an entire kitchen with plenty of cabinets just filled with herbs. So you will get an individualized recipe for your herbal teas that you would drink perhaps 3 to 6 cups a day of herbal teas. And you take your recipe, like this was mine on the right there, and they tell you what to put in. You simmer the roots and barks. If we simmer those for 20 minutes, you'll turn those off, and then you'll add the rest of your herbs and steep those. And then your batch will be done. You straighten into a large jar or jars, and then you drink that throughout the day.
And that does count as your water allowance. So you're not drinking just that plus 64 or 100 ounces of water.
Right.
Now, that's just one side with herbs. The other sides are all filled with herbs as well. So
3 sides,
yeah.
all herbs. It's amazing. So there, Anne is on the left making a batch of tea, and I was in there as well nearly every day. So moving on.
I think, people asked us, do you sure you really want to go? I mean, you already know how to eat, and you need to exercise and eat. And it's true. It's true that you know that. But we have likened it to that's a difference between studying Spanish in a classroom or going to Spain. It's total immersion, and you don't know what you don't know until you get there and start living like that, because it's like, wow, there is a lot more, and it's getting into a groove and into a lifestyle in a way that you can't necessarily learn fluent Spanish by studying the book. So, but more than anything, I think the best part of Uchee Pines is the spiritual atmosphere. It is incredible. Never been around, no offense to any of us here, but seriously, I have never been in such an environment with the level of spirituality and just the godliness that emanates from every single person. They are patient, they are kind, they are loving, and they are mature. I mean, the young people there that function as counselors, are amazing. You would think they're 40, 50, 60 years old in their spiritual maturity. They're 18, they're 19, they're 20, they're 25. But it's really inspiring. And there is worship services twice a day. So every morning, every evening, it's lovely. It is just lovely. A little slice of heaven.
Yes. And so the spiritual aspect was, I think, our last area where we were speaking. So
I think there was one more slide.
Nope, this is it.
Okay.
Yep.
So that was a little taste of our time at Uchee Pines. I would encourage anyone to go, regardless of what your needs are.
Now,
I would.
Oh, I'm sorry. I would like to say that hold on for round 2, because I hope to be able to give my personal testimony in another health update, possibly even next weekend if it works out in the schedule. So, yes, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.